is that we live in a universe of cycles. Personal cycles of love, betrayal, loss, abundance, success, and global cycles of war and peace, the rise and fall of civilizations. And that these cycles are linked to Earth's orbit in the heavens that can be predicted, calculated. We can know when the cycles occur. If we understand the cycles, then we know that if we know where to look in the past, it will help us to know what to expect when the cycles repeat. If we know where to look in the history of the Earth, if we know where to look in the history of civilization, the archaeological records, then we can give ourselves a realistic idea, not the speculation, not the fear, not the prophecy, not the prediction, but solid science that says this is what you can expect in your world, and it helps us to prepare and work together and learn from the past. And when we look at the big cycles, it looks to us from the year 2010, we all believe that the world is changed very quickly and that something is broken. And it's easy to think that if we look only 100 or 150 years. But through the geologic record, and what we see is the changes on Earth right now are the changes that always happen when we reach the point in the cycle where we are now. I would be concerned if the changes were not there. But we also can see that some of the great civilizations in the past, they collapsed and they disappeared when they reached the point in their cycle where we are in ours because they made the mistake that I believe we can avoid. And that mistake is that in the changes of the world and in their fear, they began to fight one another and create wars, and everyone lost. But the civilizations that cooperated and worked together, shared the resources and helped one another through the difficult times, they did very well. And the other thing we can tell from the history of the Earth is that the cycles are very intense, but they're brief. So I think this is what's happening. We are living a rare and precious moment in the history of this planet that a human has not seen since the biblical era. And I think about this a lot. I think it takes a really strong being to live in a world that we've learned and has worked well for us for so long, and to suddenly have that world change and try to live in a new world. But one generation must live in both at the same time, and that's where we find ourselves today. And I think it's so interesting that we find ourselves in that world. So the question now we have to ask ourselves is, do we work to continue an unsustainable way of life? Or do we say, that way of life worked in the past, it brought us to where we are right now, and now it's time for a new way. We let that go, and we move into a new world and embrace a new system. That's the choice that we are all making right now.